war in Ukraine is quite so much as some commentators are saying.
Yeah, I mean, you heard my conversation with John Bolton a short while ago. Can you get your views on the same subject on this, the 20th anniversary of the invasion of Iraq? I mean, John Bolton's position was interesting and clear. He argued mistakes were made after the invasion, among them the dismantling of the governance mechanism in Iraq. Other mistakes too. He did not regret the invasion itself. Lord Richards, what are the regrets in your mind arising from that invasion and that war?
Well, I mean, John Bolton, I think, would say that, wouldn't he? My own view is that, with some benefit of hindsight, although even within the military, but I was quite junior at the time as a major general, we had severe misgivings about it, perhaps because we knew how hollow the follow-up plans were. So I think on reflection, but in all humility too, I think it was an error strategically, and that there are other ways of achieving one's strategic goals without recourse to war. And this Iraq was an example.
In as far as it's possible to transport yourself back in time to what was known then, I mean, knowing what we know now, you argue that it was a strategic error. Do you think you'd have argued that at the time? Would you have seen it that way had you been in those councils at that early stage?
Gosh, good question. I mean, I was as I was a major general, and I was representing the chief of the general staff at the Chiefs of Staff Committee, and I can tell you that there was a pretty spirited discussion about whether or not this was a good thing to do, both at the strategic and, if you like, ethical level. And a very courageous Chief of Defence Staff, Admiral Boyce, did insist on Tony Blair being required to prove through his Attorney General that it was legal.
Yes.
So you know, there were big debates amongst the military and obviously amongst the diplomatic community, and indeed Tony Blair himself wanted to go on a bit longer with diplomacy. So I think I was in that camp, and you know, I only wish that we'd won.
Interesting.